Chapter 2899. Even if Lu Ming could protect himself, Ouyang Qingxiang was still in danger. That was why Lu Ming couldn't be bothered to fight with her. Explode! Explode! Lu Ming's heart stirred. The three nine-clawed divine dragon Dharma appearances exploded with a loud bang, forming a terrifying wave of energy. In an instant, the Supreme King Kong transformed by the Paragon Saint was forced to retreat continuously. Taking advantage of this opportunity, Lu Ming charged out of the encirclement and charged toward Ouyang Qingxiang. At this moment, Ouyang Qingxiang was fully focused on defense. Green lotus flowers floated around her, blocking the attacks, but she was still in imminent danger. That was because there were people in the Mystic Academy stronger than her. Even if she focused on defense, she was still in danger. Scram! At this moment, Lu Ming arrived. His spear pressed down, turning into a dozen huge spear images that pressed down like a mountain range. Rumble. The spear light pressed down, causing a terrifying vibration. Fuko Seiko, the holy son of Jixia, the holy son of Yin Sky, the holy daughter of Xuetan, and the other 6 holy sons and holy daughters of the Mystic Academy all had a change in expression. With a roar, each of them unleashed their strongest attacks at Lu Ming. Boom, boom, boom. Terrifying vibrations erupted, and more than 10 figures were pushed back. Saint Sun Fuguang and the rest of the top 10 experts were blasted back by Lu Ming's one move. They were at least 100 meters away. A few of them with weaker cultivation levels even trembled and spat out a mouthful of blood. How terrifying! The same thought appeared in their minds. They were also holy sons, but even with so many of them working together, they were still pushed back by Lu Ming. Some of them were even injured. Lu Ming's strength shocked them. Let's go. Lu Ming dashed past. A stream of divine power wrapped around Ouyang Qingxiang and they dashed forward. Where do you think you're going? Chase. The Paragon Universe and Four-Eyed Emptiness roared as they chased after Lu Ming. The others followed closely behind. In the blink of an eye, the two sides had traveled several thousand li. However, Lu Ming was even faster. He was like a rock flying through the air, constantly pulling away from Paragon Cosmos, Four-Eyed Hollow Temple, and the others. Damn it! The universe supremacy roared. The killing intent in his heart was extremely dense. Lu Ming had to die. Otherwise, the fact that he had colluded with the Mystic Academy to kill Lu Ming would definitely be exposed. When that time came, even if he had someone backing him up, he would never be able to make a name for himself in the Kongxian school. He would be despised by everyone. Therefore, he must kill Lu Ming and Ouyang Qingxiang. Don't worry, just let him run in this direction. His eyes were empty, but his face was calm. Could it be in that direction? A thought occurred to Autark Cosmos Master, and his eyes lit up. That's right. Emoji is coming from that direction. If he runs in that direction, he'll be walking right into the trap. So, we just have to keep chasing from behind and let him run forward. Four-Eyed Emptiness sneered. That's great. Autark Cosmos Master was overjoyed. Of course, their conversation was through telepathy. They were afraid that Lu Ming would hear them. The chase continued for another half an hour. The distance between the two parties had widened. Autark Cosmos Master and the others could barely see Lu Ming's figure. Not good. Lu Ming, stop. At this moment, Gumo's voice rang out. What's wrong? Lu Ming's heart skipped a beat. He could not help but stop. There's an expert in front of us. He's very strong. You're definitely not his match. He's fast. He's almost there. Quickly change direction. Guamo said loudly. He was a little anxious. Could it be Emoji? Lu Ming's heart skipped a beat. The first thing he thought of was Emoji. Since Four-Eyed Emptiness and the others had appeared, Emoji was probably on this planet as well. Without thinking, Lu Ming immediately changed direction and rushed to the left. Damn it! Why did he change direction? Did he discover Emoji? After him, Four-Eyed Emptiness shouted angrily and chased in Lu Ming's direction. Rumble. Lu Ming had just changed direction and ran for a short distance when he sensed a terrifying aura coming from the direction he had come from. The speed of the aura was extremely shocking. When it first appeared, it was still far away. In a few breaths, it appeared not far away. It's Emoji. Lu Ming looked around and saw Emoji's figure. A layer of black light appeared outside Emoji's body, making him look like a dark cloud. He chased after Lu Ming at an astonishing speed. His speed was even faster than Lu Ming's. The distance between him and Lu Ming was constantly closing. At first, the two parties were still a few thousand miles apart. Soon, the distance between them was less than 1,000 miles. After running for a while, the distance between the two parties was less than 300 miles. If this continued, Lu Ming would be caught soon. Lu Ming, die. Emoji's cold voice sounded. The black light around his body surged and turned into a pitch-black claw. It crossed the distance of a few hundred miles and grabbed at Lu Ming. Divine Dragon Dharma Laksana. Lu Ming used the Divine Dragon Dharma Laksana. 3 huge 9-clawed dragons condensed and pounced at Emoji's claw. Child's play. Break. Emoji shouted coldly as the pitch-black claw came down. Bam, bam, bam. With 3 booming sounds, the 3 9-clawed Divine Dragon Dharma characteristics collapsed. They were unable to stop the black claws at all. The black claws continued to move toward Lu Ming. Lu Ming's face changed. He turned around and used all his strength to attack. Lu Ming used the second move of the 3 annihilating strikes, moon slashing. Holding the spear with both hands, he slashed down. A crescent-shaped spear light blasted at the pitch-black claw. When the crescent-shaped spear light struck the pitch-black claw, there was a violent explosion. The crescent-shaped spear light trembled and then exploded. Lu Ming felt an incomparably powerful force surging from his spear. His body shook violently, and his huge body frantically retreated. Puff. Lu Ming spat out a mouthful of blood. He also felt a pitch-black energy covering his body. It had a terrifying corrosive power that wanted to corrode his body. What a terrifying divine power! Lu Ming's face was grave. The 6 divine fires in his body revolved at full power. Divine power rushed to the surface of his body to block the incoming divine power. Emoji's divine power was a type of divine-grade divine power. Its power was astonishing. Let's go. Lu Ming did not stop. While blocking the divine power, he ran forward. You have some strength, but it's not enough. Kill. Emoji shouted coldly and launched another attack from a distance. Lu Ming ran forward while blocking the attacks. Emoji's strength was truly astonishing. Lu Ming could already sense that Emoji's cultivation was at the 6th level of the heavenly god realm. However, he controlled a divine-grade divine power. His strength was much stronger than the likes of the Sovereign Universe and Four-Eyed Empyrean. Lu Ming was not his opponent at all. Even if he was attacking from a distance, the power was still astonishing. Chapter 2900. Although Emoji's cultivation was only at the 6th level of the heavenly god realm, which was on par with Sovereign Universe and Four-Eyed Empyrean, his battle prowess far surpassed theirs. Even after exchanging a few blows, Lu Ming felt that he was far from being Emoji's match. After a few moves, Lu Ming's blood boiled, and blood flowed from the corner of his mouth. The distance between him and Emoji was rapidly closing. That kid is dead for sure. Behind him, Sovereign Universe was overjoyed, and he increased his speed to chase after Lu Ming. He wanted to join forces with Emoji to attack Lu Ming. This can't go on. Lu Ming's thoughts raced. If this continued, Emoji would catch up to him soon. When Sovereign Universe and Four-Eyed Empyrean caught up, Lu Ming wouldn't be able to escape even if he had wings. Only death awaited him. Lu Ming, there is only one way now. Fly in the direction of the star, toward the planet closest to the star. The gravitational force will be stronger as it is closer to the star. The environment there will definitely be more complicated. You will then have a chance to escape. Bone Devil's voice sounded. He was very knowledgeable and quickly came up with a plan. All right. Lu Ming did not hesitate and struck out with his spear. A huge spear light collided with Emoji's attack. Lu Ming's body shook violently, but at the same time, Lu Ming borrowed the momentum to soar into the sky. The cry of a Kuan Pong resounded as Lu Ming executed the 9 heavens Kuan Pong art. Abundant God Force formed a Kuan Pong on the surface of Lu Ming's body. With a flap of its wings, the Kuan Pong soared 90,000 li into the sky, rushing towards the planet closest to the star. You want to escape? Dream on. Emo Jiuyi reacted, and his figure also soared into the sky, chasing after Lu Ming. Behind him, Sovereign Universe, Four-Eyed Empyrean, and the rest also soared into the sky, chasing after Lu Ming. Rushing out of the starry sky, Lu Ming executed the Nine Heavens Kuan Pong art with all his might, and his speed became even faster. For a moment, Emoji actually couldn't catch up to Lu Ming. The two sides, one fleeing and the other chasing, crossed a long distance and rapidly approached the planet closest to the star. From afar, the planet closest to the star was fiery red, as if it was shrouded in a layer of fiery red clouds. It was a dazzling sight. Very soon, Lu Ming was not far from the planet. Lu Ming, even if you run to the ends of the earth, you'll still die. Emoji's Royi chased after Lu Ming Empyrean. He heavens earth's you. Heaven. He's heaven heaven earth's earth, planet 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 planets heaven heaven. Heaven earth 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 earth. S's, S level Empyrean level heaven heaven? What a terrifying gravitational force. Lu Ming revealed a shocked expression. The gravitational force of this planet was beyond Lu Ming's imagination. It was extremely terrifying. Even Lu Ming almost fell for it due to his carelessness. But before Lu Ming could recover, a gale attacked Lu Ming. Its speed was extremely shocking, and before Lu Ming could react, he was swept away by the gale. Hot. That was Lu Ming's first thought. This gale was incomparably hot, and its temperature was even more terrifying than lava. Lu Ming felt a burning sensation on his skin. Lu Ming hastily circulated his divine energy to resist. Only then did he feel a bit better. However, this gale's power was too shocking. Even if Lu Ming wanted to use his full power to charge out, he was unable to do so. He could only be swept away by the gale. Behind him, Emoji had followed Lu Ming into this planet. But his fate was the same as Lu Ming's. As soon as he charged in, he was also swept away by the gale. Unable to control himself, he was swept away in a different direction from Lu Ming. After Emoji, Sovereign Universe, Four-Eyed Empyrean, Fuko Seiko, and the others all charged into this planet. But those with weaker cultivation bases were even more miserable. They were unable to control themselves, and they were sucked in by the terrifying gravitational force. They fell to the ground, heavily injured. As for those with higher cultivation bases, although they were able to resist the gravitational force, they were swept away by the gale. It was unknown where they were sent flying. The group of people had all scattered. Lu Ming was swept along by the gale. He didn't know how far he had flown. Slowly, the gale's power weakened, and Lu Ming took the opportunity to charge out of the gale and fly back to the ground. Bang! Lu Ming landed heavily on the ground. The hardness of the ground here was even more astonishing. It was several times harder than the ground of the previous few planets. The powerful gravitational force was constantly acting on Lu Ming's body, forcing Lu Ming to constantly circulate his divine power to resist. Lu Ming was on guard. But after waiting for a while, nothing happened. It seems that the gale only exists in the sky of this planet. It's relatively rare on the ground. As long as I avoid it carefully, I should be fine. Lu Ming pondered, and then released his right palm. Ouyang Qingxiang was sitting cross-legged on Lu Ming's palm. At this moment, Lu Ming was in his ancient god body. He was a few hundred meters tall, and his palm was incomparably huge. It was very easy for him to hold Ouyang Qingxiang. Lu Ming, are you okay? Where are Emoji Yi and the others? Ouyang Qingxiang quickly asked. I got rid of them, Lu Ming said. As he spoke, Lu Ming's body quickly shrank to the size of an ordinary person. Then, he felt a wave of weakness. In the previous battle, Lu Ming had been maintaining his ancient god body for a long time, which consumed a lot of his physical strength. Then, the two of them randomly chose a direction and ran. Soon, they found a secluded place where the two of them temporarily rested. A few days later, the two of them had recovered to their peak state. Only then did they leave this place and move forward. Soon, the two of them had a harvest. Lu Ming found a few pieces of strange metal. In the next few days, the two of them continued to harvest. There were actually a lot of precious metals on this planet. Lu Ming's face was full of smiles. This planet was the closest to the star, so it was the most affected by the formation. It was indeed extraordinary. Caw. Suddenly, a sharp cry came from ahead. Is there a living creature? Lu Ming and Ouyang Qingxiang were stunned. Listening to the sound, it seemed to be the cry of a bird. But on this planet, in such a harsh environment, there were still living creatures? The two of them were very curious and flew in the direction of the sound. Boom, boom. Soon, the two of them heard a violent roar. Someone was fighting. The two of them quickly concealed their aura. After flying for a while, they finally saw the situation clearly. 5 young men and women were engaged in a fierce battle with 3 giant birds. They are from the Chong Lu sect. Ouyang Qingxiang recognized the origin of the 5 people at a glance. They were the geniuses of the Chong Lu sect, one of the top 10 sects in the Qin Tian 13 sects. The Chong Lu sect was considered to be one of the top 10 sections. Of course, it was still a little inferior to the Kongxian school. The 5 people in front of them were very strong. 3 of them were saints. The strongest one was not weaker than Ouyang Qingxiang. Chapter 2901. The 5 of them were fighting against 3 large snow-white birds with a wingspan of more than 50 meters. No, they're not real creatures. They're made of energy. Lu Ming's eyes moved. He could see that the 3 large birds were not living creatures at all. They were made of energy and had no aura of life. Chong Lu flying snow. The 5 young men and women from Chong Lu sect were all using a battle axe with amazing power. The battle axe completely suppressed the 3 large birds, especially the black-robed young man whose strength was not weaker than Ouyang Qingxiang. He chopped down with his battle axe and chopped off a large bird's wing. Kill! The black-robed young man shouted and swung his battle axe horizontally with the power to split open the sky. The large bird's head was chopped off and its body collapsed directly. To Lu Ming and Ouyang Qingxiang's surprise, the large bird turned into a stream of energy after it collapsed and poured into the black-robed young man's body. The black-robed young man looked satisfied and excited. Kill! Then, the black-robed young man attacked the other 2 large birds. Not long after, the remaining 2 giant birds were slain. Similar to the previous one, the 2 giant birds collapsed and turned into streams of energy that were absorbed by the 5 young men and women. Awesome! This is awesome! If this goes on, our cultivation will break through soon. A young woman's face was filled with excitement. Yes, I don't know what these large birds are. After killing them, we can absorb their energy. This is a great opportunity. Let's continue moving forward. The black-robed young man said. Then, the 5 of them continued moving forward. Soon, several large birds appeared and pounced on the black-robed young man and his group. What a waste. They're simply wasting natural resources by absorbing it like that. I'm so angry. In the sea of consciousness, the quantifying character formula shouted unhappily. Old quantifying character, do you know what those large birds are? Lu Ming asked. Nonsense, of course I know. They're formed by the energy overflowing from the stellar core fragment. The energy of the stellar core fragment is extremely pure, so the energy overflowing from the stellar core fragment can be absorbed directly. The quantifying character formula said. Stellar core fragment. Lu Ming's eyes lit up. It was no wonder that the black-robed youth's group of 5 were able to absorb the energy of that huge bird after killing it. It's a complete waste for them to absorb the energy like that. I'm afraid they can't even absorb half of the energy. The rest will dissipate. If it were me, I would definitely be able to absorb 100% of the energy. The quantifying formula said. Are you saying that there are stellar core fragments in this area? Lu Ming asked. That's right, kid. If you get the stellar core fragment, I'm confident that I can help you break through to the heavenly god realm in a short time. The quantifying formula said. I must get the stellar core fragment. Lu Ming's eyes flashed with brilliance. As Lu Ming was about to rush out and chase the black-robed young man away so that he could claim the place for himself, a few beams of light rapidly approached him from the distance. It's him, Four-Eyed Emptiness. Lu Ming glanced around and found that the newcomer was the peerless prodigy of the Mystic Academy, Four-Eyed Emptiness. There were also a few other peerless prodigies of the Mystic Academy. The black-robed young man and the others also noticed four-eyed emptiness and the others, and their faces darkened. Whoosh, whoosh, whoosh. Four-eyed emptiness and the others hovered in the air and looked at the large birds with greed. These are formed by the energy of the stellar core fragment. Ha ha ha, there's a stellar core fragment here. Four-eyed emptiness roared in his heart, and his eyes were filled with greed. As a peerless prodigy of the three overlords, he naturally had a broad vision. He could tell that these large birds were formed by the energy of the stellar core fragment. This was a great opportunity. You can all scram now. This place is mine. Four-eyed emptiness said coldly. Four-eyed emptiness, we found this place first. Don't you think it's too overbearing to chase us away like this? The black-robed young man said with a dark face. Overbearing? Haha, you can stay here forever if you don't want to leave. Four-eyed emptiness sneered. You. The black-robed young man and the others were enraged. It was not easy for them to come across such an opportunity, and they were unwilling to leave just like that. They quickly retreated and dodged the attacks of the large birds. However, they did not intend to leave. You still think you can get away with this? How foolish. Then I'll send you on your way. Four-eyed emptiness shouted coldly. His four eyes opened and shot out four beams of light towards the black-robed young man and the others. Chong Lu flying snow. The black-robed young man roared in anger and continuously slashed out with his battle axe. More than a dozen axe radiances slashed towards the beams of light shot out by four-eyed emptiness. Bam! Bam! After a few violent explosions, the black-robed young man's body shook violently. He retreated continuously and spat out a mouthful of blood. He was no match for four-eyed emptiness. It was just like how Ouyang Qingxiang could not withstand more than a few moves from Supreme Universe Master. Haha, four-eyed emptiness, you're really impressive. At this moment, a cold laugh was heard from afar. Then, a few sword radiances flashed rapidly. In the next moment, a few more figures appeared in the area. The few young men carried long swords on their backs. The one in the lead had sharp eyebrows and eagle-like eyes. He looked extraordinary. Zhuo Budong. Four-eyed emptiness's gaze turned cold and solemn. It's him. He's an extremely powerful sky pride from Invincible Kinzo. He's second only to the Invincible Kinzo's divine son, Infinite Sword Dao. His strength is not any weaker than Supreme Universe Master. Ouyang Qingxiang's face also turned solemn as she transmitted her voice to Lu Ming. Lu Ming nodded. He also felt a terrifying sword will from this person. When the black-robed young man and the others saw Zhuo Budong appear, their faces turned even uglier. Four-eyed emptiness and Zhuo Budong appeared one after another. The opportunities in this place had nothing to do with them. How lucky. There really is a stellar core fragment in this place. Haha, it's mine. Zhuo Budong laughed loudly. He was full of confidence and greed. It's yours? Zhuo Budong, you're really overconfident. Four-eyed emptiness sneered. Four-eyed emptiness, are you trying to stop me? The outside world has always regarded me as your equal. Today, I'll see what right you have to be my equal. Zhuo Budong said coldly. As soon as he finished speaking, a terrifying sword will rose from his body. With a clang, he unsheathed his sword and a snow-white sword radiance shot towards four-eyed emptiness. Four-eyed sky fixing. Four-eyed emptiness shouted. His four eyes were like four suns, emitting a dazzling radiance. Then, four beams of light burst out and turned into four long spears that shot towards Zhuo Budong. Clang, clang, clang. The sword radiance and the destructive beam collided continuously, erupting with terrifying sound waves. In the blink of an eye, the two of them had exchanged dozens of blows. After that, both of them retreated at the same time. They were evenly matched. Chapter 2902. Four-eyed Hollow and Zhuo Budong looked at each other from a distance. Both of them looked solemn. For a moment, no one made a move. They knew that if they were to fight, it would take a long time to determine the winner. Moreover, if both of them were injured, the black-robed young man and his companions would take advantage of the situation. Quack! At this moment, Several large birds chirped and pounced on Four-Eyed Hollow and Zhuo respectively. Clang! Swoosh! Four-Eyed Hollow and Zhuo attacked at the same time. In an instant, the birds were killed by them and turned into rolling energy that surged into their bodies and was absorbed by them. Awesome! This is awesome! Four-Eyed Hollow was intoxicated. Zhuo was the same. After absorbing these large birds, their cultivation would increase rapidly. Absorbing one large bird was equivalent to 1,000 years of cultivation. What could be more awesome than this? Four-Eyed Hollow, how about we have a fair competition for the stellar core fragments here? Whoever gets them will get them. What do you think? Zhuo stared at Four-Eyed Hollow and said, Okay, let's do that. But before that, we still need to get rid of some irrelevant people. Four-Eyed Hollow finished his words and glanced coldly at the black-robed young man and his companions. That's right. Get lost or die. Zhuo said coldly. The black-robed young man and his companions looked terrible, but they did not dare to refute. In this world, strength was respected. If one talked too much without strength, death was the only way out. Let's go. The black-robed young man shouted angrily and turned to leave. Although the other four geniuses of the Chong Lu sect were unwilling, they could only leave with the black-robed young man. There are two more ants. Why? Are you still not leaving? After the black-robed young man and his companions left, Four-Eyed Hollow looked in the direction of Lu Ming and Ouyang Qingxiang and said coldly, It seems that we have been discovered. Lu Ming smiled faintly and stepped out with Ouyang Qingxiang. Lu Ming, it's you. Four-Eyed Hollow shouted angrily after seeing Lu Ming and Ouyang Qingxiang. Four-Eyed Hollow's eyes flickered with cold killing intent. Lu Ming, it's you. Ha ha ha, good, very good. In the ancient god world, you killed one of the holy princes of the invincible Kinzo. Now, leave your life behind. A terrifying sword will rushed out of Zhuo Budong's body. As soon as he finished speaking, a snow-white sword light rushed towards Lu Ming with terrifying power. Without any hesitation, Lu Ming displayed the ancient god tactics and transformed into a green-armored ancient god. He lashed out with his spear and defeated Zhuo Budong's sword light. Kill! Lu Ming yelled. His fighting spirit soared to the sky. Under the support of quadruple combat strength, Lu Ming was full of power. Holding the long spear, he charged towards Zhuo Budong. Zhuo Budong's pupils contracted. Obviously, Lu Ming's strength had far exceeded his expectations. Undying Sword Dao! Zhuo Budong yelled and unleashed a terrifying divine skill, charging towards Lu Ming. Boom! Boom! In the blink of an eye, the two had exchanged more than 10 moves. The others could only see the sword light and spear light in the sky. In the beginning, the sword light and spear light were evenly matched, but after a few breaths, the spear light began to suppress the sword light. The sword light vibrated non-stop and finally exploded with a boom. A figure could be seen retreating. The one who retreated was naturally Zhuo Budong. How is this possible? Zhuo Budong's eyes were filled with disbelief. He never expected Lu Ming's strength to be so powerful that even he was no match for him. Four-Eyed Hollow had fought with Lu Ming before, so he was not too surprised. Zhuo Budong, this Lu Ming is really abnormal. I'm afraid you can't take him down alone. How about we join forces to kill this person together? Four-Eyed Hollow said to Zhuo Budong. Okay. Zhuo Budong nodded and emitted a terrifying sword will. Four-Eyed Hollow and Zhuo Budong formed a triangle and forced their way towards Lu Ming. The two of you want to join forces to kill me. Good, very good. But do you think it's easy to kill me? If I go all out, I can drag one of you down with me. Even if I can't kill you, I can at least seriously injure you. If one of you is seriously injured, will the other let him go? Lu Ming sneered. As soon as these words came out, Four-Eyed Hollow and Zhuo Budong's figures stopped immediately. They looked at each other and saw the vigilance in each other's eyes. Lu Ming was right. Even if the two of them joined forces to deal with Lu Ming's strength, it was not impossible for him to drag one of them down with him if he fought back before death. Even if he couldn't kill him, he could definitely seriously injure him. If one of them was seriously injured, would the other let him go? It was impossible. Who didn't want to monopolize the stellar core fragment? For a moment, the two of them did not make a move. Lu Ming, Don't try to drive a wedge between us. Four-eyed Hollow said in a deep voice. Haha, drive a wedge between us? I'm just telling the truth. If you want to fight, I'll keep you company. Lu Ming sneered. Four-eyed Hollow and Zhuo Budong still did not make a move. They naturally knew that what Lu Ming said was indeed the truth. For a moment, the three sides were in a deadlock. Anyone who sees the stellar core fragment will have a share. Let's compete fairly. Whoever can get it will have it. How about that? When the others arrive, we won't have a share, especially the divine princes. Lu Ming smiled faintly. Four-eyed Hollow and Zhuo Budong's eyes flashed. They were obviously persuaded. In the Mystic Academy or Invincible Kinzo, the divine princes and divine princes were also competitors, just like the Kongxian school. Four-eyed Hollow had always been suppressed by Emojui. It would be a lie to say that he didn't want to replace and defeat Emojui. If Emojui found this place, the stellar core fragment would definitely be monopolized by Emojui. How could he have a share? Compared to killing Lu Ming, obtaining the opportunity for himself was more important. All right, let's compete fairly. The stellar core fragment will belong to whoever has the strength and the opportunity. Four-eyed Hollow finally compromised. After saying that, he led the people of the Mystic Academy and rushed forward. Let's go. Zhuo Budong couldn't fall behind. He also led the other sky prides of the Invincible Kinzo and rushed forward. Let's go too. Lu Ming nodded at Ouyang Qingxiang. The two of them also moved forward in a flash. Not long after they walked in this direction, a large bird swooped out and attacked them. Kill. Lu Ming waved his long spear and pressed down. A large bird was killed by Lu Ming. Suddenly, the large bird collapsed and turned into rolling energy that rushed into Lu Ming's body. Lu Ming, let me do it first. I'll pass it to you after I devour it. The measure formula said. Then, a powerful suction force erupted and devoured the energy that the large bird had turned into. In the next moment, an incomparably pure energy surged out of the measure formula and poured into Lu Ming's limbs and bones. Lu Ming circulated the universe myriad Tao arts to absorb this energy and convert it into divine power. Chapter 2903. In just a few breaths, Lu Ming had completely absorbed and refined this energy. Lu Ming felt that his divine power had become much richer and purer. Of course, there was still a long way to go before he reached the heavenly god realm. It's really rich energy, Lu Ming sighed. Of course, after I absorbed it, I can fully utilize it. Others can only absorb half of it at most. The quantifying character formula said proudly. Lu Ming smiled. Without any delay, he waved his long spear and killed another big bird, then continued to absorb its energy. At this moment, Ouyang Qingxiang had also killed a big bird and absorbed its energy. The divine power in her body had also become stronger. Cultivating by killing this kind of big bird was many times faster than cultivating normally. On the other side, Four-eyed Emptiness, Zhuo Budong, and the others were also increasing their speed to kill the big birds and absorb their energy. After absorbing the energy, they continued to move forward. Lu Ming and Ouyang Qingxiang also moved forward after killing a few big birds. As they went deeper, the number of big birds also increased. They knew that the stellar core fragment must be in front of them. Although the strength of these big birds was quite strong, they were still hunted down by experts like Lu Ming, Four-eyed Emptiness, and Zhuo Budong. Lu Ming continued to go deeper and deeper as the big birds were killed one by one. Caw, caw, caw. Suddenly, there was a burst of ear-piercing sounds in front of them. Lu Ming and the others also narrowed their eyes, revealing a shocked expression as they looked ahead in a daze. There was a huge canyon in front of them, but at the mouth of the canyon and above the canyon, there were countless big birds flying. At a glance, the number was definitely no less than 1,000. They covered the sky and blocked the sun, blocking the light in this area. So many. Someone's voice was dry. Lu Ming, Four-eyed Emptiness, and Zhuo Budong naturally did not care about this kind of big bird. However, if so many of them attacked together, even they would have a hard time. The stellar core fragment must be in this canyon. Four-eyed Emptiness' eyes revealed deep greed. What should we do? There are so many big birds. How can we get in? Zhuo Budong muttered to himself. His mind was spinning as he tried to think of a way to get rid of the others while keeping the stellar core fragment for himself. Lu Ming, I have a way to help you get in. At this moment, the quantifying formula spoke again. You have a way? What is it? Lu Ming's eyes lit up, and he secretly communicated with the measure formula. These giant birds are the condensation of energy from the fragments of the star core. They don't seem to have any intelligence. They only have one instinct. As for me, I am the origin ancient character quantity. I am the origin of all energy and can devour all energy. As long as I release my aura, those giant birds made of energy will definitely not dare to approach you. The quantifying formula said. So simple? Lu Ming was stunned. It's that simple. The measure formula said with a resolute tone. All right. Lu Ming secretly nodded. He already had an idea in his mind. Four-Eyed Hollow and Zhuo Budong. It seems that we have to join forces to rush in. At this moment, Lu Ming spoke to Four-Eyed Hollow and Zhuo Budong. Join forces? Four-Eyed Hollow and Zhuo Budong's eyes flashed. Yes, let's join forces. After rushing in, we'll seize the fragments of the stellar core with our own abilities. Lu Ming said. Okay, I agree. Me too. Four-Eyed Hollow and Zhuo Budong nodded. After making up their minds, they were ready to take action. Qingxiang, wait a minute. You have to follow me closely. Lu Ming transmitted his voice to Ouyang Qingxiang. Ouyang Qingxiang nodded silently and followed Lu Ming closely. Kill. Suddenly, Lu Ming shouted and rushed toward the flock of giant birds at the entrance of the canyon. At the same time, Four-Eyed Hollow and Zhuo Budong also rushed toward the entrance of the canyon. Caw, caw, caw. As soon as they moved, the giant birds also noticed them and moved together. They let out sharp screeches and pounced toward Lu Ming and the others. Lu Ming shouted and waved his long spear to kill those giant birds. Four-Eyed Hollow and Zhuo Budong also attacked with all their might. However, there were too many giant birds. It was easier said than done to rush in. However, because of this, Zhuo Budong and Four-Eyed Hollow and the others attracted a large number of giant birds. Old measure, now's the time. Lu Ming sent a message to the measure formula. Watch me. The voice of the measure formula was heard. At the same time, the measure formula glowed and a mysterious aura was emitted, shrouding Lu Ming. Originally, there were a few giant birds pouncing toward Lu Ming. Suddenly, they sensed the aura of the measure formula and their eyes were filled with fear. They directly flew away from Lu Ming. It's really effective. Qingxiang, follow me. Lu Ming pulled Ouyang Qingxiang's small hand. The aura of the measure formula followed Ouyang Qingxiang's small hand and covered her entire body. The surrounding giant birds also directly ignored Ouyang Qingxiang and did not pounce toward her. When Lu Ming pulled her small hand, Ouyang Qingxiang's delicate body began to tremble and her face turned red. However, in the next moment, her beautiful eyes were filled with astonishment, because she realized that the giant birds were not pouncing toward her. They directly ignored her and pounced toward Four-Eyed Hollow and Zhuo Budong. Ouyang Qingxiang was extremely surprised. She knew that all this was because of Lu Ming. Her curiosity toward Lu Ming grew even stronger. Let's go. Lu Ming held Ouyang Qingxiang's small hand and rushed into the canyon. Not a single giant bird stopped him. Damn it! How is this possible? Four-Eyed Hollow and Zhuo Budong also noticed Lu Ming's strange behavior. It was simply unbelievable, and they all roared. Lu Ming, stop right there. How dare you trick me? Four-Eyed Hollow and Zhuo Budong roared. Their murderous intent was as cold as a knife. You guys have fun. I won't keep you company. Lu Ming smiled indifferently and continued to rush forward with Ouyang Qingxiang. In the blink of an eye, they disappeared from Four-Eyed Hollow and the others' vision. Four-Eyed Hollow and Zhuo Budong roared again and again. Their murderous intent was as cold as a knife, but there was nothing they could do. Let's not fight with these giant birds. Save our strength and surround them. When that kid Lu Ming comes out, it will be his death. Four-Eyed Hollow said coldly. That's right. That kid dared to trick me. He's asking for it. Zhuo Budong's voice was also extremely cold. Immediately, they stopped fighting with the giant birds and retreated. When they had retreated a certain distance, The giant birds stopped chasing and flew back to the canyon. Four-Eyed Hollow and Zhuobudong stood guard nearby, waiting for Lu Ming to come out so that they could kill Lu Ming. After Lu Ming and Ouyang Qingxiang broke into the flock of giant birds, their vision suddenly widened. In the canyon, there was not a single giant bird. Those giant birds were only circling around the canyon entrance and above the canyon. As soon as Lu Ming and Ouyang Qingxiang entered, their gazes were deeply attracted. In mid-air of the canyon, there was a ball of light suspended there, emitting a dazzling brilliance. Chapter 2904. A ball of light was floating in the canyon, emitting a dazzling radiance. Moreover, incomparably pure energy was constantly emitting from it. A star core fragment. Lu Ming and Ouyang Qingxiang's eyes were blazing. This was definitely a star core fragment. They had come to the right place. The two of them couldn't help but approach the star core fragment and finally see its full appearance. It was a crystal the size of a fingernail. It was sparkling and translucent. Although it was small in size, the energy it contained was incomparably terrifying, causing one's heart to tremble. "It's so small," Lu Ming muttered. "Kid, what do you know? A star core is the core of a star. The energy it contains is incomparably vast, but it's also incomparably pure and easy to absorb. It's a peerless treasure." Moreover, the star core here was forcefully refined by a great formation. Refining a star into a star core, the energy it contains is even more terrifying. Don't underestimate it. It's only a small piece, but it's enough for you to reach the heavenly God realm. The measure character formula's disdainful voice rang out. "Then let's start," Lu Ming said. He could not wait any longer. Lu Ming and Ouyang Qingxiang immediately walked towards the star core fragment. The two of them sat down cross-legged and began to circulate their cultivation techniques to absorb the energy from the star core fragment. "Lu Ming, I'll help you absorb it. It'll help you break through to the heavenly God realm faster." The measure character formula released a powerful suction force. The energy within the star core constantly surged towards Lu Ming. It was absorbed by the measure character formula and transformed into even purer energy that poured into Lu Ming's body. Lu Ming circulated the Heaven and Earth 10,000 Tao Sutra with all his might, absorbing and refining the energy. The energy within the star core was extremely pure. Even without the measure character formula, he could quickly refine it. With the help of the measure character formula, the refining speed was naturally faster. A steady stream of energy was transformed into divine power. Lu Ming's divine power rapidly rose. The 6 divine flames in his dantian burned fiercely. Lu Ming was charging towards the heavenly God realm at an astonishing speed. On the other side, Ouyang Qingxiang was also circulating her cultivation technique to absorb the energy of the stellar core fragment. However, her absorption speed was far from being comparable to Lu Ming's. Just like that, they cultivated for 7 days. After 7 days, the fingernail-sized stellar core fragment was almost completely absorbed by the two of them, leaving only the size of a speck of dust. Boom! At this moment, a powerful aura erupted from Ouyang Qingxiang. She had broken through to the 6th level of the celestial God realm. Ouyang Qingxiang had just broken through to the 5th level of the heavenly God realm not long ago, and she had already reached the 6th level of the heavenly God realm. This was all thanks to the stellar core fragment. However, the amount of energy Ouyang Qingxiang absorbed was still far from Lu Ming's. At the same time, Lu Ming's aura rose to its peak. 6 types of God power surged, shining with dazzling light as they circulated around Lu Ming's body. Lu Ming's body was like a volcano that could erupt at any time. Boom! Finally, Lu Ming erupted. A shocking aura erupted from his body, and a powerful pressure spread out. This was the pressure of the heavenly God realm. Lu Ming's God power was of the divine grade. Moreover, he had 5 other types of God power. The amount of energy he needed to break through was much more than Ouyang Qingxiang's. At this moment, after absorbing the energy of the stellar core fragment, Lu Ming finally broke through the bottleneck and entered the heavenly God realm. As soon as he entered the heavenly God realm, Lu Ming's body emitted a powerful suction force. The energy of heaven and earth rushed towards Lu Ming even more violently. Poof! The last bit of the stellar core fragment let out a soft sound and completely shattered. It turned into energy and poured into Lu Ming's body. The moment the stellar core fragment shattered, the large birds around the canyon let out a cry and dispersed. All of them turned into energy and poured into Lu Ming's body. Their eyes were empty. Zhuobatien and the rest had been waiting outside the canyon for Lu Ming to come out so that they could kill Lu Ming. At this moment, they suddenly saw the large birds disperse and were shocked. What's going on? That's Lu Ming. He's cultivating. Damn it. It must be the stellar core fragment. Lu Ming absorbed the stellar core fragment and caused the large birds to disperse. Kill him. When Four-Eyed Hollow Man and the rest saw Lu Ming and Ouyang Qingxiang, they could easily guess what had happened based on the current situation. They roared furiously and their eyes turned red. They were simply envious and jealous. Kill. Zhuobatien was the most direct. With a cold shout, a terrifying sword and tint burst out. He and his sword became one and turned into a dazzling sword light that slashed towards Lu Ming. Lu Ming had absorbed the stellar core fragment. He wanted to grind Lu Ming's bones and scatter his ashes. The sword light was extremely fast, and in the blink of an eye, it was close to Lu Ming. Lu Ming was at the critical moment of his breakthrough and was unable to resist. In fact, the current situation was beyond Lu Ming's expectations. He did not expect that the large birds would disperse after he absorbed the stellar core fragment. Green Lotus Sword Realm. Ouyang Qingxiang shouted, and her delicate body emitted a dazzling green sword light. Green lotuses appeared in front of Lu Ming, and thousands of sword qi slashed toward Zhuobatien. Clang, clang, clang. The sword qi collided. In an instant, the sword qi from both sides had collided a few hundred times. After a few hundred times, the green lotuses dispersed and Zhuobutian's body was blocked and stopped. You've broken through. Zhuobatien stared at Ouyang Qingxiang with an ugly expression. It must be the stellar core fragment. She must have absorbed the energy of the fragment. Damn it, damn it. Four-Eyed Emptiness rushed over and roared in anger. He was going crazy with jealousy. In his opinion, it was a waste for Lu Ming and Ouyang Qingxiang to absorb the stellar core fragment. It would be great if he could absorb the stellar core fragment. He would definitely be able to reach level 7 or even level 8 Heavenly God. Then, he would not be afraid of Emojui and could even suppress Emojui to become the #1 expert among the younger generation of the Mystic Academy. However, his hope was shattered by Lu Ming and Ouyang Qingxiang. So what if you've broken through? Kill. Zhuobatien roared, and his sword light shone even brighter as he charged towards Ouyang Qingxiang. Let's attack together and get rid of this bitch. Then, we'll kill Lu Ming. Four-Eyed Emptiness roared and attacked as well. Terrifying light beams shot out from his 4 eyes and charged towards Ouyang Qingxiang. Green Lotus Sword Realm. Ouyang Qingxiang roared again. The divine energy in her body was about to ignite. She unleashed all of her energy and formed a green lotus sword realm around herself and Lu Ming. Boundless sword she gathered into a few giant green lotuses and enveloped the two of them, blocking the attacks from all directions. However, Ouyang Qingxiang's cultivation had just reached level 6 Heavenly God. She was no match for Four-Eyed Emptiness or Zhuobatien alone, let alone the two of them working together. The moment their attacks collided, the green lotuses trembled violently. Ouyang Qingxiang groaned, and her body trembled. She spat out a mouthful of blood and was sent flying. Chapter 2905. Ouyang Qingxiang was sent flying. She fell to the ground with a pale face. Lu Ming, Ouyang Qingxiang exclaimed worriedly. You overestimate yourself. Lu Ming, go to hell. 4 pairs of eyes stared at Lu Ming. Their gazes were extremely cold. For destructive light beams burst forth and charged toward Lu Ming. If the beams hit, Lu Ming would surely die. At that instant, Lu Ming's eyes sprang open. His eyes flickered with a cold, murderous intent. Whoosh, whoosh. 2 spear glows were fired from Lu Ming's hands. They were brighter than meteors. The spear glows shuddered, and the 4 destructive beams of the Four-Eyed Hollow were dispersed. A cry of agony echoed across the place. Following it, blood splashed as a figure backed away rapidly. The figure was none other than the four-eyed hollow. The four-eyed hollow was roaring crazily as if he had gone mad. Two of his eyes had disappeared, replaced by two bloody holes. The eyes of the four-eyed hollow had been blinded by Lu Ming's attack. "Lu Ming, you're courting death. I'm going to tear you into pieces," the four-eyed hollow roared. Four-eyed hollow master roared crazily. His body swelled up rapidly, turning into a giant worm. The worm was over 100 meters long. Its body was covered in disgusting tentacles. It was the four-eyed hollow's true form. As a matter of fact, the true forms of the multi-eyed tribe were not the same race, but different races. The four-eyed hollow transformed into his true form and lunged at Lu Ming, unleashing his full strength. "Kill," Lu Ming said coldly. His body expanded rapidly, turning into a green-armored ancient god. He swung his spear horizontally. A strong god force suppressed the four-eyed hollow like a landslide. Bang! Lu Ming had now broken through to the first-layer heaven god realm, and even reached the peak of the first-layer heaven god realm. His god force was a lot stronger than before. The spear broke through the four-eyed hollow's attack and defense and landed on his body. Four-eyed hollow's huge body was blasted away, and a section of its body exploded, sending flesh and blood flying everywhere. "You're the one who will die." Lu Ming's cold voice rang out. With a single step, he crossed 100 miles. His spear was like a shooting star as it pierced towards Four-Eyed Hollow. "Ah, Zhuo Budong, come and help me!" Four-Eyed Hollow screamed in horror. At the same time, he erupted his strength to the extreme to resist Lu Ming. Clang! With the sound of a sword chime, Zhuo Budong made his move. The sword radiance was like the light of flying immortals, breaking through the void and chopping towards Lu Ming's head. Zhuo Budong was not the only one. The other prodigies from the Mystic Academy and the invincible Kinzo also attacked Lu Ming at the same time. Humph! Lu Ming coldly snorted with a cold glint in his eyes. His left hand emitted a resplendent radiance as he punched toward Zhuo Budong. The moment he punched, 3 nine-clawed dragons flew out from Lu Ming's left fist. This was the Divine Dragon Dharmalaksana. As Lu Ming continued to comprehend the Divine Dragon Dharmalaksana, his understanding of the Divine Dragon Dharmalaksana grew deeper and deeper. He was able to use it with greater ease. With one punch, he could condense 3 Divine Dragon Dharmalaksana. The 3 Divine Dragon Dharmalaksana pounced towards Lu Ming. As for the other prodigy's attacks, Lu Ming ignored them and allowed them to attack him. Lu Ming's spear did not stop as he continued to stab Four-Eyed Hollow. Four-Eyed Hollow was shocked and furious. He unleashed all his strength and set up a series of defenses in front of him. However, when the spear pierced through, these defenses continuously shattered and exploded. Then, Lu Ming's spear pierced through Four-Eyed Hollow's head, nailing him to the ground. Four-Eyed Hollow was still alive and was frantically struggling. On the other side, the 3 Divine Dragon Dharmalaksana blocked Four-Eyed Hollow's attacks. As for the other prodigies, their attacks landed on Lu Ming's body. However, they were only barely able to break through his defenses. They left shallow scars on Lu Ming's body, but to Lu Ming, they were no different from scratching an itch. "Ah, Lu Ming, don't kill me, don't kill me." Four-Eyed Hollow screamed in terror and began to beg for mercy. In truth, his strength was not that weak. If he had used his full strength to fight Lu Ming, there was no way he would have been so easily suppressed by Lu Ming. The main reason was that he had been caught off guard and blinded by Lu Ming. The eyes of the multi-eyed race were their vital points. Once they were blinded, it would greatly damage their strength. That was why he had been so easily suppressed by Lu Ming. "Die," Lu Ming said coldly. The four-eyed empty man had been trying to kill him. How could he let the four-eyed empty man off? The long spear shook, and a terrifying force burst forth, exploding from the four-eyed empty man's body. The four-eyed empty man's body was torn into pieces. Hollow's pupils shrank as he frantically retreated. "All of you, stay here," Lu Ming shouted coldly. His long spear swept out with a force that could wipe out thousands of troops. A long spear light swept towards the Mystic Academy and invincible Kinzo-S prodigies. At the same time, a crescent-shaped spear light shot out. "Not good. Retreat." The Mystic Academy and Invincible Kinzo's prodigies' expressions changed as they frantically retreated. However, they were still a step too late. The spears smashed down, and a few of the weaker ones' bodies directly exploded. A few of the stronger ones were also sent flying like cannonballs, crashing into a few mountain peaks, smashing them into pieces. All of them were heavily injured. Among the crowd, Zhuo was the one who fared better. He continued to attack with his sword, and the sword light slashed on the crescent-shaped spear light, producing a violent roar. Although his sword light was also shattered, he borrowed the force of the collision and retreated 1,000 miles. Only a trace of blood spilled from the corner of his mouth. This person is too terrifying. Retreat first. Without any hesitation, Zhuo turned into a ray of sword light and sped away. Stay here, Lu Ming shouted as he threw out the spear in his hand. The spear shot out like a bolt of lightning towards Zhuo. Zhuo expression changed. A few thousand rays of sword light shot out from his hand and slashed towards the spear. Bang, 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 the spear and sword light exploded together. In the end, all the sword light shattered. The spear light flashed, and Zhuo let out a blood-curdling scream. His abdomen was pierced by the spear, and blood flowed out. He did not dare to stay any longer. Despite his injuries, he used all his strength to escape. In the blink of an eye, he had disappeared. What a pity! Lu Ming did not chase after him. Zhuo cultivated the sword. Sword cultivators not only had powerful attacks, but their speed was also astonishing. Now that he was fleeing, even if Lu Ming wanted to chase after him, he might not be able to. Lu Ming's gaze swept over the heavily injured geniuses of the Mystic Academy and Invincible Kinzo. Those geniuses' expressions all changed. Their faces were pale without the slightest trace of blood. They were all terrified. Lu Ming, don't kill us. My senior apprentice brother Zhuo has already escaped. If you kill us, the Invincible Kinzo will not let you off. The geniuses of the Mystic Academy and Invincible Kinzo all shouted. They were all holy sons, and they did not want to die here. I can spare your lives if you swear on your life essence that you will be loyal to me in the future, Lu Ming coldly said. Chapter 2906. Swear allegiance to you on our life source? Don't even think about it, roared one of the Mystic Academy's prodigies. Poof! With a flash of the spear, that prodigy's forehead was pierced, and he died on the spot. The other prodigies immediately kept quiet out of fear. If you say you're not willing, I'll immediately send you on your way. Who else? Lu Ming looked around. No one spoke. Lu Ming's methods were too ruthless. They didn't doubt that if they rejected Lu Ming, they would be killed by Lu Ming. I'll give you 10 breaths of time. After 10 breaths, if you still don't agree, I'll have to send you on your way. 10. 9. Lu Ming began the countdown. I agree. Me too. In the end, the prodigies of the Mystic Academy and Invincible Kinzo all agreed and swore allegiance to Lu Ming with their life source. Lu Ming smiled. The Mystic Academy and Invincible Kinzo had a total of 6 people. These were all chosens. After all, the Kongxian sect only had 7 chosens in total. Lu Ming had gained the allegiance of 6 saints in one go. These people would definitely be useful in the future. All right. Don't announce your relationship with me to the public. You're still the saints of the Mystic Academy and Invincible Kinzo. If I need you in the future, I'll naturally contact you. Go. With that, Lu Ming waved his hands, gesturing for everyone to leave. Yes, the 6 chosens bowed and nodded. Then, their figures flashed and they left the place one after another. Lu Ming, you're getting stronger and stronger. With your current battle strength, you might be able to fight with the saints of the 3 overlord factions. Ouyang Qingxiang walked over, her face full of envy. Sorry, I absorbed so much energy from the stellar core fragment. Lu Ming smiled awkwardly. 90% of the stellar core fragment's energy had been absorbed by Lu Ming. I was the one who got the stellar core fragment because of you. I'm sorry. I'm already very lucky to have broken through 1 level after absorbing so much energy. Ouyang Qingxiang smiled. This planet is the closest to the star. There might be other star core fragments. Let's go look for them again. Lu Ming said. After finishing their discussion, Lu Ming collected the storage rings of Four-Eyed Empty Court and the others. Then, he left with Ouyang Qingxiang. However, their luck seemed to have run out. Or perhaps, there was only one stellar core fragment on this planet. In the next 5 or 6 days, they didn't find a second stellar core fragment. They also didn't encounter that kind of array plate. However, they had obtained quite a lot of precious metals. Lu Ming didn't hesitate to put them away. Rumble. Suddenly, a violent explosion came from one direction. At the same time, a terrifying force spread in this direction. These are divine force fluctuations. There are people fighting a great battle in that direction, Ouyang Qingxiang said. Such shocking fluctuations. The people fighting are very strong. Let's go take a look. Lu Ming's eyes flickered. The two of them concealed their aura and headed in that direction. After traveling for at least 10,000 miles, the fluctuations in front of them became more intense. Gazing into the distance, he saw 3 figures entangled with one another, fighting one another fiercely. The fact that the energy fluctuations from the 3 of them could travel so far showed how strong they were. Divine Grey Divine Force. It's them. Emojui, Sword Dao Wuji, Song Yin, Army Destroyer. Ouyang Qingxiang's eyes widened in shock. Lu Ming's eyes narrowed. The 3 people fighting in front of them were Emojui, Sword Dao Wuji, Song Yin, and Army Destroyer. However, the 3 of them didn't use their full strength. They were probably holding back, so the battle was difficult to determine. Below the 3 of them, there were other sky prides from the 3 overlord forces. In front of them, there was a stone pagoda. It was 9 stories high and the door was tightly shut. Emojui, Sword Dao Wuji, Song Yin, and Army Destroyer should be fighting because of this stone pagoda. The 3 of them exchanged dozens of blows before they retreated and faced each other from afar. The 2 of you, everyone has a share. How about the 3 of us enter this stone pagoda together? Sword Dao Wuji's long hair fluttered in the wind. His sword chi soared into the sky like a sharp divine sword. Humph, you sure know how to take advantage of others. I found this stone pagoda first. Emojui snorted. His body was shrouded in black light as if he was in the dark night. So what if you found it first? You can't break the door of the stone pagoda alone. What's the use of that? In my opinion, we should work together to break the door of the stone pagoda and enter together. We'll fight for the treasures inside with our own abilities. That's the fairest way. Song Yin, Army Destroyer, shouted. His body was covered in scarlet armor and was covered in raging flames. The terrifying heat caused the space to distort. It was rumored that Song Yin, Army Destroyer, had the bloodline of the Scarlet Flame race. But no one knew if that was true or not. I agree with Brother Song Yan's suggestion, Sword Dao Wuji said. Emojui's expression was ugly, but in front of Sword Dao Wuji and Song Yin, there was nothing he could do. Sword Dao Wuji and Song Yin, Army Destroyer, and Army Destroyer weren't any weaker than him. All right, then it's decided. But before that, it seems there are 2 uninvited guests. Song Yin, Army Destroyer, and Lu Ming looked in the direction of Ouyang Qingxiang and Lu Ming. At the same time, Emojui and Sword Dao Wuji also looked over, a cold light flashing in their eyes. Lu Ming smiled. Divine sons had unfathomable methods. It was normal for them to discover them. Let's go out and meet a divine son. Lu Ming smiled. Since they had been discovered, there was no need to hide it. Lu Ming and Ouyang Qingxiang walked out side by side. Kid, it's you. At the sight of Lu Ming, Emojui's eyes were filled with cold, murderous intent. A cold aura shrouded Lu Ming. He had chased Lu Ming to this planet to kill him. He hadn't thought that Lu Ming would escape. Now that he saw him again, his killing intent was incomparably strong. Lu Ming's gaze swept around, but he didn't see Zhuo Budong's figure. It seemed that Zhuo Budong still hadn't met Sword Dao Wuji and the others. Emojui naturally didn't know that Lu Ming had killed Four-Eyed Kongding. Kongshin School's Lu Ming, huh? Sword Dao Wuji sneered. The sword intent on his body also became incomparably cold. In the ancient god world, Lu Ming had killed one of the invincible Kinzo's holy sons. So Lu Ming was also on his must-kill list. So what if it's me? Lu Ming smiled and strode forward. His expression was indifferent, without the slightest fear. Very good, you still dare to come out. You're courting death. Now I'll send you on your way. Emojui's expression was sinister. Black light condensed into a pitch-black hand that grabbed at Lu Ming. Chapter 2907. Lu Ming snorted and did not retreat. He instantly activated the battle character art and quadrupled his battle strength. He executed the second style of the 3 strikes of extinction and slashed down with his spear. Ran? ENW? W? W? Ranwen. Boom. The crescent-shaped spear light slashed down on Emojui's pitch-black hand. The 2 sides collided, and energy overflowed. Rumble. The crescent-shaped spear light trembled and finally exploded. Lu Ming's figure swayed, and he retreated 6 or 7 steps. However, Emojui's claw was also split in half. Emojui's eyes narrowed. He was a little surprised. He did not expect Lu Ming to be able to block his attack. Although he had only casually executed that attack, its power was extremely shocking. Moreover, Lu Ming had not even used his ancient god body to block the attack. This made Emojui's expression turn serious. Beside him, Jiandao Wuji, Song Yin, and defeating armies were also surprised. Obviously, Lu Ming's battle strength had exceeded their expectations. So you've already broken through to the heavenly god realm. But do you think that you can fight me just because you've broken through? I'll let you know the difference between us. Emojui's eyes were cold. His body emitted even more black light, turning the surrounding 10,000 meters into night. It was a pure night, a night without any light at all. Kill! Emojui shouted coldly. His figure flashed, and like a ghost, he charged toward Lu Ming. The darkness around him quickly spread and enveloped Lu Ming. When Lu Ming was enveloped, he felt as if he had entered a bottomless abyss. There was no sound or light around him. Whoosh! Whoosh! Suddenly, the sound of something breaking through the air came from all directions. Pairs of pitch-black claws suddenly appeared and grabbed at Lu Ming. These claws were like a pair of ghost claws, emitting a disgusting stench. Sky Piercer. Lu Ming's god power surged. He unleashed the sky-piercing technique. The spear light was like a meteor, piercing towards the sharp claws, destroying them. However, as soon as those claws were destroyed, they would immediately reform and grab at Lu Ming. Ice chains. Lu Ming's heart shook, and 9 ice chains flew out of his body. Each of them was tens of thousands of meters long, and they wrapped around the claws. As Lu Ming stepped into the heavenly deity realm, the power of the ice shackles also rose accordingly, becoming extremely astonishing. The terrifying coldness completely froze those ghost claws, and then exploded them. Lu Ming, you have some strength, but let's see how long you can last in my eternal night cage. 9-armed demon king, come out. Emojui's voice rang out in the dark night. Following that, a series of roars could be heard. Then, in the darkness of the night, 3 enormous creatures appeared. The 3 enormous creatures were covered in scales, and their mouths were wide open with sharp fangs. They actually had 9 arms, like demons that had walked out from the abyss. This was the 9-armed demon king that Emojui had mentioned. Each of the 9-armed demon king's arms held a weapon, and it roared as it charged towards Lu Ming. Lu Ming executed the divine dragon image technique, and 3 9-clawed dragon images pounced out. At the same time, he brandished his spear and charged forward. Swoosh! Swoosh! The 9-armed demon king brandished its 9 weapons and continuously slashed out. The 3 9-clawed dragon images bore the brunt of the attack, and they were forced to retreat, with wounds appearing on their bodies. At this moment, Lu Ming's attack had also arrived, and the spear clashed with the 9-armed demon king's weapon. Clang! Clang! A terrifying explosion rang out, but Lu Ming's expression changed. He could feel that the 9-armed demon king's power was shockingly strong, and he could not withstand it at all. His body trembled violently, and he was forced to retreat. He almost vomited blood. The 3 9-armed demon kings split into 3 different directions and charged towards Lu Ming. Lu Ming, use your ancient god body. Let me see how strong you are. Emojui's voice rang out again. Since you want to see, I'll fulfill your wish, Lu Ming said, and then executed the ancient god technique. His body rapidly collided, and he transformed into a green-armored ancient god that was a few hundred meters tall. Once he transformed into a green-armored ancient god, Lu Ming's strength skyrocketed. He brandished his spear, and spear radiance burst out, charging towards the nine-armed Demon King. The nine-armed Demon King also brandished its weapon, but this time, the nine-armed Demon King was no match for Lu Ming, and it was forced to retreat. Kill. Lu Ming stared at one of the nine-armed Demon Kings and charged over. His attacks were like a violent storm, attacking the nine-armed Demon King. Bang! The nine-armed Demon King barely resisted a few moves, and Lu Ming's spear struck its head. The head of the nine-armed Demon King exploded, and its entire body collapsed. After defeating one of the nine-armed Demon Kings, Lu Ming attacked the other two nine-armed Demon Kings. Not long after, the remaining two nine-armed Demon Kings were defeated. You have some strength? Come again. In my eternal night prison, I am the master. Haha. Emoji laughed. The night rolled, and another nine-armed Demon King walked out. This time, there were a total of 9 nine-armed Demon Kings, and they roared as they charged towards Lu Ming. However, Lu Ming transformed into a green-armored ancient god, and his fighting strength was extremely strong. After fighting with the nine-armed Demon Kings for a while, he defeated them one after another. Watch how I break your eternal night prison, Lu Ming shouted, and the spear in his hand grew rapidly. A shocking spear light shot up to the sky, as if it could pierce through the sky. Boom! Emojiuye's eternal night prison had a limited range. The spear light pierced through the sky, and a hole was opened in the darkness, allowing light from outside to shine in. When the light shone on Emojiuye's eternal night prison, it was like ice meeting fire, and it melted away, disappearing into nothingness. When the darkness disappeared, Lu Ming and Emojiuye's figures were exposed. This is the green-armored ancient god body. Lu Ming has cultivated the green-armored ancient god body. Seeing Lu Ming's current state, Limitless Sword, Song Yin, and Army Destroyer were shocked. He can even break Emojiuye's eternal night prison. His strength is really shocking. He's only a level 1 heavenly god. How can he have such strong fighting strength? Limitless Sword, Song Yin, and Army Destroyer spoke one after another, their faces solemn. In their hearts, they had unknowingly regarded Lu Ming as an opponent of the same level. They were old rivals of Emojiuye, so they naturally knew about Emojiuye's secret skills. Even they would find it difficult to break Emojiuye's eternal night prison. As for the other sky prides of the 3 overlord forces, they were completely stunned. Emojiuye, the divine son of the Mystic Academy, stood at the peak of the younger generation in Qintian Starfield. Almost no one could defeat him. In the entire Qintian Starfield, there were only a few people who could be his opponent. Lu Ming could actually fight with Emojiuye. This was simply incredible. Emojiuye, is this all you've got? I heard that you've also cultivated the ancient god body. Use it, or you're no match for me, Lu Ming shouted. Chapter 2908. Since you want to see it, I'll fulfill your wish. www.ranwennc.com. Emojiuye's face darkened as he roared. His body swelled rapidly as he turned into an ancient god. However, the scales on the surface of his ancient god body were orange. The orange-armored ancient god body and height were much shorter than Lu Ming's. However, Emojiuye's cultivation level was too high. He was a 6th-level celestial god and was much stronger than Lu Ming. With the support of his powerful cultivation level, his power was extremely terrifying. Boom! Emojiuye took a step forward as his huge body charged toward Lu Ming. A huge black demonic saber appeared in his hand as he slashed at Lu Ming. Kill! Lu Ming roared as he charged toward Emojiuye. Boom! 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 The two of them clashed fiercely, unleashing fierce attacks. This was the most direct collision, and it was extremely intense. It was as if two giants were fighting fiercely. During this time, Both of them used all kinds of methods. Lu Ming continuously used the ice shackles, the divine dragon aspect art, and the three strokes of destruction. Emoji also used various terrifying secret techniques and divine skills. One had to admit that Emoji's battle strength was extremely strong. The two of them exchanged more than 100 moves, but it was still difficult to determine the victor. Emoji's divine power was of the divine grade. Moreover, the divine skills and secret techniques that he cultivated were also very powerful. They were not any weaker than Lu Ming's divine power. Moreover, his cultivation was 5 layers higher than Lu Ming's. This was a 5th-layer heavenly god realm. The difference was shocking. Lu Ming's advantage was the universe myriad Dao technique. He cultivated 6 divine fires, and his body was filled with 6 different types of divine power. However, Lu Ming's other 5 types of divine power were of the divine grade. 2 of them were of the divine grade, while the other 3 were of the royal grade. The difference between Saint and King grade divine powers was too great. Even if there were 5 types of divine powers combined, the gap wouldn't be too great. Lu Ming estimated that his current strength was barely comparable to a 3rd-level heavenly god Emoji, or perhaps even weaker. Lu Ming's other advantage was the quadruple combat strength of the battle formula and the green-armored ancient god body. Only with all these advantages added together would he be able to fight Emoji. The battle prowess of the two was evenly matched. In the blink of an eye, they had exchanged over 100 moves. Terrifying. How can this Lu Ming be so terrifying? Unbelievable. I've never heard of his name before. I can't believe he's so strong. The Kongxian school actually has such a genius. Things are going to change in the future. The other geniuses of the 3 overlord factions could not calm their hearts. Even Sword Dao Wuji, Song Yin, and defeating armies had grave expressions on their faces. Clang, clang. Sword Dao Wuji, in particular, constantly emitted sword hums from his body. He was like a divine sword, his sword intent soaring to the heavens, ready to strike at any moment. However, he held back. After all, he was a divine son. If he joined forces with Emoji to attack Lu Ming, he would lose face. Boom, boom. The battle between Lu Ming and Emoji was still ongoing. The more they fought, the more intense it became. Poof! Emoji's saber light landed on Lu Ming's body. Green scales scattered, and deep wounds appeared on Lu Ming's body. At the same time, Lu Ming's long spear also landed on Emoji's body. Emoji staggered, and a large part of his body exploded. Flesh and blood flew everywhere. It was a horrible sight. However, the two had no intention of stopping. They were still fighting fiercely, and their battle intent was getting stronger. The others held their breaths and watched with wide eyes. They wanted to see who would win between Lu Ming and Emoji. Whoosh, whoosh. Lu Ming brandished his long spear like a dragon. The first and second forms of the 3 strikes of annihilation were executed consecutively by Lu Ming. This was also because of the support of the quantifying character formula. Otherwise, it would have been difficult to sustain. It was also because of these conditions that Lu Ming could unleash such a powerful battle strength. Otherwise, a 1st-level heavenly god wouldn't have such battle strength. Although Emoji was only a 6th-level heavenly god, his battle strength was enough to kill an 8th-level heavenly god. He could even fight a 9th-level heavenly god. In other words, Lu Ming was only a 1st-level heavenly god, but he could fight a 9th-level heavenly god. It was a miracle. 3 strikes of annihilation. 3 strikes of annihilation. Up until now, Lu Ming's mind was unusually calm. He was enjoying such a great battle and absorbing experience from it. His comprehension of the 3 strikes of annihilation was getting deeper. He had a feeling that the 3 strikes of annihilation were about to achieve a breakthrough. He had cultivated the 3 strikes of annihilation to the peak of the 6th layer for a long time. After such a long period of training, his comprehension of the 3 strikes of annihilation was extremely deep. After an intense battle with Emoji, he had a feeling that he was about to achieve a breakthrough. In the blink of an eye, they had exchanged another few dozen blows. Buzz. Suddenly, Lu Ming swung his long spear. The long spear vibrated vigorously, and a crescent-shaped spear ray was fired. Its power was stronger than before. A breakthrough. The 3 strikes of annihilation had reached the 7th layer. Each layer of the divine skill would increase its power tremendously. The crescent-shaped spear ray collided with Emojiuye's saber ray, causing the latter's saber ray to vibrate vigorously. How is this possible? Emojiuye's expression changed drastically, revealing a look of disbelief. How could Lu Ming's attack improve at such a crucial moment? Bang! Emojiuye's body shuddered. He took a few steps back before stabilizing himself. Ha 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 again. Lu Ming laughed as he brandished his long spear. The breakthrough of the 3 strikes of annihilation had made it easier for him to use them. Moreover, the breakthrough of the 3 strikes of annihilation had allowed him to use the 3rd move. Of course, this required time to cultivate. Lu Ming had yet to cultivate, so naturally, he could not use it. However, the power of the first move, Sky Piercer, and the second move, Moon Slashing, had increased tremendously. Bang! Bang! The situation had completely changed. Lu Ming's attack power had suddenly increased, completely suppressing Emojiuye. Emojiuye roared as he tried his best. However, he was still no match for Lu Ming. He was forced to retreat. For a moment, he could only parry and could not fight back. Originally, he and Lu Ming's battle power were on par. Now that Lu Ming had a breakthrough in his divine skill, the balance had tipped. This Lu Ming is so talented. He actually managed to break through his divine skill in the middle of a battle. Jiandao Wuji's eyes flashed with astonishment. Such talent is of course terrifying. Song Yin and defeating armies licked their lips. Their eyes were filled with shock and battle intent. They were also peerless geniuses. However, it was their first time encountering someone like Lu Ming. Such a person cannot be allowed to live. Otherwise, there will be no place for us in the Qintian star field in the future. Jiandao Wuji's eyes flashed with a cold light. Jiandao Wuji, are you thinking of joining forces with Emojiuye? I can't do such a thing. If you want to fight, let's fight fair and square. Song Yin and defeating armies said disdainfully. Chapter 2909. If you won't attack, then I'll. Limitless Sword Dao coldly said. His sword intent suddenly soared, and a resplendent swordlight slashed at Lu Ming. Ranwen, W, 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 Ranwen A? The swordlight was tens of thousands of meters long, and its pressure was like a mountain. Boundless Sword Chi was extremely terrifying. Limitless Sword Dao immediately used his killing move. Emojiuye's eyes brightened, and he immediately attacked Lu Ming with his full strength. You're despicable. Not far away, Ouyang Qingxiang shouted. But with her strength, she could only worry. She couldn't interfere. Moon severing, moon severing. At this time, Lu Ming's left hand took out another spear. With a spear in each hand, he used moon severing at the same time. One attack was aimed at Limitless Sword Dao, the other at Emojiuye. Boom, boom. Lu Ming's attack collided with Emojiuye's and the Limitless Sword Dao's attacks at the same time, resulting in a terrifying explosion. Lu Ming gave a muffled snort, and his body trembled. A powerful force surged toward him from both sides. Limitless Sword Dao controlled divine-grade divine energy. At the same time, he cultivated the Sword Dao, so his attack power was extremely terrifying. Lu Ming could feel tiny sword auras drilling into his body continuously, slashing at the scales on his body. Sparks flew in all directions. Lu Ming's expression changed. His body rapidly spun, and he escaped from Emojiuye and Limitless Sword Dao's encirclement. Then his divine energy surged out, destroying the sword chi on his body. Boom, boom. Limitless Sword Dao and Emojiuye stepped forward, their powerful auras pressing down on Lu Ming. Very good. The two of you want to work together? Then come. Even if I die, I'll drag one of you down with me. Who should I drag? Lu Ming's eyes flashed coldly, revealing a sinister killing intent. He constantly swept his gaze over Limitless Sword Dao and Emojiuye. Limitless Sword Dao and Emojiuye's expressions both changed, and they stopped. Lu Ming's lips curled into a cold smile. The effect of this move was pretty good. Back then, he had used this move to scare off Four-Eyed Empty Court and Zhuo Budong. Now, he was using the same trick again to scare off Emojiuye and the sword Dao Wuji. Of course, this was also because his battle prowess was strong, that this move was effective. If his battle prowess was not up to par with either Mo Juyi or Limitless Sword Dao, then the two of them could easily kill Lu Ming if they worked together. Then, this move would be useless. The main reason was that Lu Ming's strength was extremely shocking. In a one-on-one battle, he could suppress Mo Juyi. If he really went all out, he could really drag someone down with him. That was why they were afraid. This fellow is just trying to scare us. I don't believe he'll really risk his life. Mo Juyi roared. He really wanted to kill Lu Ming. You guys are joining forces to kill me, so why shouldn't I fight back? Ridiculous. Lu Ming sneered. Mo Juyi was at a loss for words. That was indeed the case. Since he was about to die, how could he not give it his all? Come on, it's not bad to drag a divine child down with us. Lu Ming shouted, his battle intent surging. Limitless Sword Dao didn't move. He really was a bit apprehensive. If Lu Ming went all out and took him down with him, it really wouldn't be worth it. Hadn't Lu Ming just killed a divine child of the invincible Kenzo? What did that have to do with him? If Lu Ming was weak and he could kill him with a flip of his hand, then he would naturally kill Lu Ming. That way, he would be able to gain fame and win people's hearts. But now that Lu Ming's strength was enough to threaten his life, he had to reconsider. Ha ha ha, Lu Ming, you're overthinking it. I just wanted to test your strength when I saw your battle. Your strength is truly shocking. I admire you. If you want to fight, then continue. I won't disturb you. Limitless Sword Dao laughed and withdrew his sword intent. He retreated 100 miles, leaving the battlefield to Lu Ming and Mo Juyi. This fellow really is a hypocrite. Mo Juyi clenched his teeth, his expression ugly. Mo Juyi, do you want to continue? Lu Ming stared at Mo Juyi. Lu Ming, I'll let you off today. The mountains are high and the rivers are long. We'll fight again in the future. Mo Juyi spat out those words and also retreated, putting some distance between him and Lu Ming. If he were to continue fighting with Lu Ming alone, he would feel a little guilty. Lu Ming smiled faintly and didn't continue fighting with Mo Juyi. First of all, with his strength, although he could suppress Mo Juyi, it wasn't very likely that he could kill him. Second of all, Limitless Sword Dao and Song Yin were watching him. If he was injured, he didn't doubt that Limitless Sword Dao would take the opportunity to eliminate him. Now wasn't the time for a battle. The scene of 4 experts facing off against each other appeared. The others felt complicated. In the past, the Qin Tian 13 sects had Limitless Sword Dao, Mo Juyi, Song Yin, and Song Yin. Now, they knew that the Qin Tian 13 sects would have 4 experts, and Lu Ming would be one of them. It's good to have one more person. Let's do what we did before. We'll work together and break open the door. If there are treasures inside, we'll rely on our own abilities. How about it? Song Yin said. Okay. Lu Ming nodded. Then let's do it. Song Yin said, his body emitting a scorching aura as he punched out. His fist energy was incomparably hot, like a ball of magma, and it blasted towards the door. Clang. Whoosh. Sword Dao Wuji, Mo Juyi, and Lu Ming also attacked the door of the stone pagoda. The stone tower looked very old, as if it would collapse at any moment. However, when their attacks landed on the door, it only shook violently and didn't explode. What are you guys standing there for? Attack together. Mo Juyi looked at the other sky prides of the Mystic Academy. The faces of those geniuses changed. Then, they all attacked together, attacking the stone pagoda door. At the same time, the sky prides of the invincible Kinzo, Boundless Sacred Ground, and Ouyang Qingxiang attacked together. Their attacks continuously blasted towards the door. Rumble. The door of the stone tower shook continuously. After a while, a crack appeared on the door. Success. Continue. Limitless Sword Dao's eyes lit up as he attacked even more vigorously. Rays of resplendent sword chi continuously slashed towards the door. Crack. Crack. More and more cracks appeared on the door. Not long after, the door exploded. Behind the door was a spacious hall. Through the door, one could clearly see an altar in the middle of the hall. Above the altar, there were 3 bronze array plates floating. Array plates, 3 array plates. Lu Ming and the others' eyes lit up, emitting a blazing light. Whoosh, 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 whoosh. Lu Ming, Limitless Sword Dao, Zhang Yin, Jun Per, and Imo Juyi all rushed into the hall at the same time. The hall was very spacious. There was nothing else in it except for the altar and the 3 array plates. The array plates are mine. Imo Juyi formed a large hand and grabbed at the 3 array plates. Chapter 29:10. Imo Juyi grabbed the 3 formation plates. His appetite was very big, and he wanted to take all 3 of them. W, W, W. Scram, scram. Limitless Sword Dao and Zhang Yin defeating armies shouted and attacked at the same time. A terrifying sword light and a scorching fist energy shot towards Imo Juyi. Imo Juyi's expression changed. He could only block with all his strength. But how could he fight 2 people at once? He was forced to retreat. As Imo Juyi was pushed back, the everlasting Sword Dao and Zhang Yin Jun moved and each grabbed an array plate. On the other side, Lu Ming also grabbed a formation plate. At almost the same time, the 3 of them each grabbed a formation plate and retreated. The 3 formation plates were divided between the 3 of them. Damn it, you guys. Seeing this, Imo Juyi's face turned ugly. His appetite had been too big, and he had wanted to take all 3 formation plates for himself. He had been forced back by Limitless Sword Dao and Zhang Yin defeating armies. He hadn't expected that he wouldn't have a share of the formation plates. Lu Ming, Limitless Sword Dao, Zhang Yin, and defeating armies had taken the formation plates. He was so angry that he wanted to vomit blood. Oh! At this moment, everyone's gazes simultaneously turned towards the outside of the main hall. That was because there was a dazzling light outside the hall. The few of them rushed out of the main hall and saw that in the distant sky, there were many brilliant halos shining. That was clearly the brilliance of the galaxy formation. What's going on? Why is the galaxy's grand formation suddenly shining? It hasn't been like this before. Could it be that the God Kings outside are attacking the formation again? Some people guessed. That shouldn't be possible. Those God Kings already sent us in. They know we're inside, so they won't attack the formation rashly. They also won't allow others to attack the formation. Someone said, and the others agreed. This galaxy's grand formation was mysterious and unfathomable. No one knew what kind of danger would arise if they attacked it from the outside. If they attacked from the outside and caused the Sky Prides who had entered the galaxy to die, it would be a great loss. How could those sect masters and eminent elders do that? Could it be that all 12 formation plates have been taken by someone else? That's why it's strange. Someone guessed. That's possible. It's very possible. Just now, Senior Brother Jiandao and the others were fighting for the formation plates. An invincible Kinzo's genius shouted. Many people nodded. This was the most likely reason. It was very likely that all 12 array plates had been obtained by someone else, and that was why the galactic array was acting strangely. You guys, go take a look. You too. Limitless Sword, Imo Juyi, and the others each sent a few geniuses to take a look first. Those people flew out of the galaxies outside the galaxy's grand formation. As for the others, they waited there quietly. Lu Ming had already returned to his human form. He stood by the side with Ouyang Qingxiang and waited. Soon, 7 days had passed, and the young men who had gone out previously returned. What's going on? Imo Juyi was the first to ask. Senior Brother, the formation masters outside speculate that all the formation plates have been taken by someone else. That's why it's strange. Everyone can go out now. One of the Mystic Academy's geniuses replied. Indeed. Everyone's heart skipped a beat. Imo Juyi snorted and glanced at Lu Ming with an unfriendly gaze. Then, he led the Mystic Academy's geniuses and flew into the sky, disappearing in the blink of an eye. Let's go too. Limitless Sword shouted. Then, he and the invincible Kinzo's geniuses turned into streaks of sword light and shot into the sky. Brother Zhang Yin, wait. Just as Zhang Yin and defeating armies were about to move, Lu Ming called out. Lu Ming, why did you call me? Do you want to spar with me? Zhang Yin and defeating armies stopped and stared at Lu Ming in confusion. Forget about the spar. Brother Zhang Yin, Are you interested in the formation plates? Lu Ming smiled faintly. Of course I'm interested. What do you want? Song Yin and defeating armies were even more confused. I have 2 formation plates here. How about I sell them to you? Lu Ming's palm glowed, and 2 formation plates appeared in his palm. Sell them to me? This time, it wasn't just Song Yin and defeating armies. The other geniuses of the boundless sacred ground, including Ouyang Qingxiang, widened their eyes and looked at Lu Ming in astonishment. However, Lu Ming was the one who had obtained the 2 formation plates. Ouyang Qingxiang naturally wouldn't say anything about what Lu Ming wanted to do with them. She suppressed the doubts in her heart and didn't say anything. You really want to sell them to me? Song Yin and defeating armies asked again. He was truly confused. One had to know that these formation plates were what the sect leaders and eminent elders wanted. Only with these formation plates could they enter this galaxy and fight for the stellar core. As long as they handed over the formation plates, they would definitely be rewarded handsomely. Lu Ming actually wanted to sell the formation plates to him. He had 10,000 doubts in his heart. Of course, it's true. You can exchange it with precious metal materials. Of course, divine crystals are also acceptable. Lu Ming smiled. He didn't even want to bring the formation plates out and give them to the Dragon Mountain. According to Bone Devil's speculation, the Dragon Mountain would definitely have great uses for the stellar core. The Dragon Mountain had great uses for it, but to Lu Ming, it was a great disadvantage. Why would Lu Ming give the formation plates to the Dragon Mountain? Selling them to Song Yin and defeating armies now was the most cost-effective. All right, you guys. Take out all the metal attributed materials you have and hand over the formation plates. We'll split the rewards equally. Song Yin and defeating armies looked at the immeasurable sacred ground sky prides. Immediately, the immeasurable sacred ground sky prides took out all the rare and precious metal materials they had obtained in this galaxy and piled them into a pile. Brother Lu, these metal materials and 100 million mid-grade divine crystals in exchange for your 2 formation plates. What do you think? Song Yin and defeating armies looked at Lu Ming with some apprehension. To be honest, the price he offered was too low. If they took the 2 formation plates out, the rewards they would receive would definitely be much higher. All right, Lu Ming didn't mind. He would sell as much as he could. It was better than giving them to the Dragon Mountain. Song Yin and defeating armies were overjoyed. They handed the metal attributed materials and 100 million mid-grade divine crystals to Lu Ming. Lu Ming also gave the 2 formation plates to Song Yin and defeating armies. Haha, Lu Ming, I'll accept this favor. See you another day. Song Yin and defeating armies laughed heartily. They were in an extremely good mood. Then, they left with the immeasurable sacred ground sky prides. Qingxiang, keep this matter a secret for me for the time being, Lu Ming said to Ouyang Qingxiang. Of course, he couldn't let the Dragon Mountain know about this. All right. Although Ouyang Qingxiang was puzzled, she still nodded. Then, the 2 of them soared into the sky and left the place. After some time, they left the galaxy. Outside the galaxy, the sect masters of the Qin Heavenly 13 sects and the other divine kings were waiting anxiously. Chapter 29:11. When Lu Ming and the others came out, they saw that the other sect's geniuses had all come out and gathered around their sect leaders. Some of the sect leaders had gloomy expressions. For example, some of the weaker sects hadn't obtained any formation plates. Without a formation plate, it was equivalent to losing the qualifications to compete for star cores. Lu Ming scanned the area and saw a few God King experts from the Longhaotian sect and the Kongxian sect. Lu Ming flew over and saw that the Holy Sun, Fuko Seiko, and the others had already gathered around the Dragon Mountain. This Lu Ming is really lucky. The Holy Sun's expression was extremely gloomy when he saw Lu Ming. Lu Ming coldly swept his gaze over the Holy Sun, Fuko Seiko, and the others, causing Fuko Seiko, Holy Sun Jixia, and the others to break out in cold sweat. However, Lu Ming didn't make a move here. Nor did he say that the Holy Sun had colluded with Emo Juyi to kill him. The Holy Sun of the Holy Sun clan was also here. Lu Ming knew that even if he said the truth now, he wouldn't be able to kill the Holy Sun clan. In that case, he might as well not say anything. When there was a chance in the future, he would naturally get rid of the Holy Sun clan. Lu Ming, how many formation plates did you obtain? At the sight of Lu Ming, Long Haoshan looked over with a hopeful expression. Sect leader, this disciple is useless. This time, I didn't obtain a single formation plate. Lu Ming pretended to cup his fists, revealing an ashamed expression. You didn't obtain one? Don't try to lie to me. The Dragon Mountain's expression sank, and a trace of gloominess flashed in his eyes. Lu Ming, you're lying. You obtained one formation plate on the first planet. You actually dare to lie to the sect leader? How dare you? The Holy Sun berated loudly. When they had entered the first planet, he had competed with Lu Ming. He had personally seen Lu Ming obtain a formation plate. Hearing Sovereign of Universe's words, Long Haoshan's gaze turned even darker as he looked at Lu Ming. That's right. In the beginning, I obtained an array plate. I was going to give it to the sect leader, but someone colluded with the Mystic Academy's Mo Juyi to frame me. I was being chased by Mo Juyi, so in order to save my life, I gave the array plate to Mo Juyi. Otherwise, I would be dead. Lu Ming began to spout nonsense, and at the same time, he also turned the tables and looked coldly at the Sovereign of Universe. Don't slander me. Who colluded with Mo Juyi? Autarch Cosmos Supremacy's face darkened as he bellowed. I'm not talking about you. Why are you so nervous? Lu Ming said indifferently. You, Supreme Universe Master, was at a loss for words. However, in his heart, he did believe Lu Ming's words. Back when Mo Juyi had chased after Lu Ming, perhaps it was just as Lu Ming had said. Lu Ming had used an array plate in exchange for his life. Therefore, he did not refute. Sect leader, if you don't believe me, I can swear that I don't have an array plate on me, Lu Ming said Dandan. Even if he swore on his life source, he was not afraid because he really did not have an array plate on him. Long Zhoushan's face turned ugly. If he did not have an array plate, he would not be able to enter the Nebula Array and participate in the competition for the Star Core. This time, the Star Core was very important to his plan. Haha, sect leader, Lu Ming and the rest did not get an array plate, but I got one. Autarch Cosmos Supremacy laughed. You got one? Long Zhoushan's eyes lit up. That's right. Sect leader, please take a look. Long Zhoushan's hand flashed, and an array plate appeared. He then looked at Lu Ming proudly. Ha ha ha, one is enough. Long Zhoushan laughed happily and waved his hand, grabbing the array plate. Autarch Cosmos Supremacy, you're not bad. This time, I will reward you handsomely. Thank you, sect leader. Autarch Cosmos Supremacy bowed and looked at Lu Ming provocatively. This guy actually got an array plate. Lu Ming curled his lips and was speechless. He had sold the array plate to Tsang Yin and Pajun because he did not want Long Zhoushan to compete for the Star Core. He did not expect Autarch Cosmos Supremacy to get an array plate. Whoosh! Suddenly, a ray of light shot out from not far away and rushed towards the Nebula Array. It was the Dean of the Mystic Academy. He could not wait to rush towards the Nebula Array. The other sect leaders and divine kings who had gotten their hands on the array plates also rushed towards the Nebula Array. Long Zhoushan's body flashed and appeared in the middle of the Nebula Array. He continued to fly towards the core of the Nebula Array. He was so fast that Lu Ming did not even know how he left. There were a total of 12 array plates, which meant that 12 powerful elites had rushed into the Nebula Array. With the array plates, the Nebula Array did not seem to be affected. Boom! In just a few breaths, there was a terrifying roar in the depths of the Nebula Array. Rays of dazzling divine light shot out and lit up the universe. The divine kings are fighting, someone exclaimed with bright eyes. It was obvious that the battle for the Star Core had begun. There must be a terrifying battle in the depths of the Nebula Array. Boom! Boom! The roar in the depths of the Star Core became more intense. Rays of divine light of different colors shone in all directions. Even though everyone was standing outside the Nebula Array, they could still feel the slight vibrations in the space. It was definitely terrifying. They were standing outside the Nebula Array. If they could feel the vibrations even though they were a Nebula Array, it showed how intense the battle was. The terrifying battle between the divine kings could destroy a planet. It was not just for show. The battle continued for a while. Suddenly, everyone saw a ray of light shooting out from the nebula array at a shocking speed. Behind this ray of light, there were other rays of light that were chasing after it. Could it be that the victor has been decided and the star core has been obtained? The thought flashed through everyone's mind. They could not help but open their eyes wide, wanting to know who had obtained the star core. The ray of light was extremely fast. In a few breaths, it had flown out of the nebula array. Dragon Mountain. Lu Ming's heart skipped a beat. The ray of light that was flying at the front was Dragon Mountain. Dragon Mountain, hand over the star core. Don't you dare take the star core for yourself. Behind them, there were roars of anger that shook the universe. It was Dragon Mountain who had obtained the star core. Swoosh. Dragon Mountain did not say anything. He pushed his speed to the limit and arrived beside Lu Ming and the others in an instant. Let's go. Dragon Mountain waved his hand, and a wave of divine force wrapped around Lu Ming and the others as they flew into the distance. The other divine kings of the Kongxian school followed closely behind Dragon Mountain. Chase after them. Don't let them get away. Chase after them. Behind them, the sect leaders of the three overlords roared as they led the experts under them to chase after Dragon Mountain. Furthermore, the experts of the other sects also chased after them. Dragon Mountain brought Lu Ming and the others with him as they flew at an incredible speed. Planets flew past them continuously. Chapter 29:12. Not long after, they arrived at a nearby teleportation array. Long Zhoushan led them into the teleportation array and arrived at a star near the mysterious Kongxing planet. Then, they flew towards the mysterious Kongxing planet. Activate the Astral Guardian Array. As soon as Long Zhoushan arrived at the Kongxian school, his voice echoed throughout the entire Kongxian school. Sect leader. It's the sect leader. The sect leader has given the order to activate the Astral Guardian Array. Activate the array. The entire Kongxian school was filled with voices. Powerful auras soared into the sky. In the next moment, pillars of light shot up from different parts of the Kongxian school. There were a total of 360 pillars of light scattered in different parts of the mysterious Kongxing planet. These were the foundations of the array. Each of the 360 pillars of light was tens of thousands of miles wide. They intersected in the sky and formed a huge array that enveloped the entire mysterious Kongxing planet. This was the Star Protection Array. It was similar to the Mountain Protection Array of the sects that Lu Ming had encountered in the past. However, this array was many times more powerful. It could shroud an entire planet. In fact, powerful factions like the Qin Tian 13 sects, the Ice Soul race, and the Scarlet Flame race all had their own Astral Guardian Array to protect their main planet. After the Astral Guardian Array was activated, the teleportation array that Lu Ming and the others had just come out of lit up. Then, the sect leaders of the three overlords and other experts arrived. They flew towards the mysterious Kongxing planet and stood outside of it. Long Zhoushan, hand over the star core. The Mystic Academy's dean roared and attacked. A huge palm formed and covered at least a few million miles and slammed down on the mysterious Kongxing planet. Boom! The huge palm slammed into the array. The array lit up and a terrifying divine light burst out, resisting the Mystic Academy's dean's palm. In the end, the Mystic Academy's dean's palm was riddled with holes and dissipated in the air. Seeing that the Winged Demon Academy's dean's attack had been blocked, the other members of the Kongxian school heaved sighs of relief. Long Zhoushan, hand over the star core. Do you think a single formation can stop so many of us? The dean of the Mystic Academy said angrily. All members of the sect, pay attention. Use all of your power to activate the spell formation. My mission for you is to defend it for half a month. After half a month, I have a way to repel the enemy. You may go. Lu Ming, stay behind. Long Zhoushan commanded. Soon after, the God King Realm experts, Autarch Cosmos Sovereign, Ouyang Qingxiang, and the others all left one after another, leaving only Lu Ming and Dragon Zhoushan. Attack. Outside the formation, the Dean of the Mystic Academy roared angrily and launched another attack. In addition, the invincible Kinzo Sect Master, the immeasurable Sacred Land Master, and the other God Kings had also launched their attacks. One after another, terrifying attacks rained down on Kongxian's star. Each of these attacks was terrifying to the extreme. Lu Ming felt that each of these attacks could turn him into ashes, leaving nothing behind. Lu Ming, follow me. Long Haoshan waved his sleeves and brought Lu Ming to a certain place in the Kongxian school. They're finally going to act. Lu Ming's heart skipped a beat. Now that Lu Ming had broken through to the heavenly god realm, Lu Ming guessed that Long Haoshan was about to act. Guo guessed that Long Haoshan's physical body had already been taken over by another powerful existence, and that existence's main body was being suppressed by the rising dragon formation. Long Haoshan's goal was to rescue his main body. Soon after, they arrived at a place. The Nether Dragon's secret realm. Lu Ming's eyes flashed. This was the entrance to the Nether Dragon's secret realm. Back then, Lu Ming had obtained the measure formula in the Nether Dragon's secret realm. Could it be that the rising dragon formation that Long Haoshan spoke of was in the Nether Dragon's secret realm? Lu Ming's guess was correct. Long Haoshan brought Lu Ming into the Nether Dragon's secret realm with a single step. After entering the Nether Dragon's secret realm, they flew in a certain direction. Soon after, they arrived in front of a huge mountain range. This mountain range was extremely huge, as if a divine dragon was lying on the ground. Boom! Long Haoshan suddenly attacked. With a wave of his hand, a ray of divine light slashed towards the mountain range. Just as the divine light was about to hit the mountain range seemed to come alive, transforming into a divine dragon that soared into the sky and disappeared into the firmament. Following that, a light screen appeared in the area of the mountain range, blocking Long Haoshan's divine light. From afar, it looked like a light screen that covered the ground. Rising dragon formation, Long Haoshan muttered, his eyes burning with anticipation. It really is the rising dragon formation. There's definitely a powerful existence suppressed in this formation. My guess was right. The Bone Demon's voice sounded in Long Joshan's mind. Of course, he was communicating with his soul. Furthermore, the Bone Demon's control was very subtle, so Long Haoshan didn't notice. Long Haoshan, why did you bring me here? Lu Ming asked, even though he already knew the answer. Haha, of course I'm lending it to you. The Nether Dragon blood curse that I've been accumulating in your body for so long can finally be put to use. Long Haoshan laughed. His laughter was filled with incomparable savagery and madness. Following that, Long Haoshan's hands rapidly formed seals. At the same time, a dazzling light exploded from Lu Ming's body. Then, numerous black runes spread out like small snakes. The Nether Dragon blood curse had been activated. Countless black runes covered Lu Ming's body. Go in. Long Haoshan waved his hand, and Lu Ming flew towards the rising dragon formation. Buzz. When Lu Ming neared the rising dragon formation, the rising dragon formation shook and emitted rays of light that rushed towards Lu Ming. Lu Ming was shocked. He felt that the rays of light contained a terrifying power that could destroy everything. Lu Ming himself definitely couldn't withstand it. However, at this time, the black nether dragon blood curse on Lu Ming's body seemed to have come alive. It extended from Lu Ming's body and entangled with the rays of light from the rising dragon formation. It was like a battle between living creatures. On the other hand, Lu Ming's figure successfully entered the rising dragon formation. Ha ha ha, the nether dragon blood curse is indeed able to restrain the rising dragon formation. I'm finally free. I'm finally free. Long Haoshan laughed maniacally, venting his emotions. It was as if he had gone mad. Following that, Long Haoshan formed seals again. The nether dragon blood curse on Lu Ming's body shone brightly. Then, a terrifying suction force appeared. At this moment, Lu Ming's blood, essence, qi, and spirit all rushed towards the nether dragon blood curse as if they were going to be devoured by it. Long Haoshan, you said that you wouldn't harm my life. If you continue like this, I won't be able to hold on. Lu Ming roared, you're tuning in to the Warrior Lore YouTube channel. Don't forget to subscribe and join us on this journey to catch the most captivating stories.